The second half of the
Oh, I don't see it that way. I didn't see it that way.
It's about 6:47.
I didn't trust them, except Mary.
Hills.
Nice guy, yeah.
Thank you.
Have you, I shouldn't tell you this, have you driven from Tilden to?
Yeah, exactly.
That's part of the first day.
If I can handle that, then,
Then
oh,
you're home,
yeah, okay.
it's just.
Yeah. All right. Good evening, everyone. This is Monday. It is June 18th, 2012. I will call this meeting of the Norfolk City Council to order. This is an open meeting, and in the northwest corner of this room is the actual Open Meeting Act made available to all members of the public. If you would, please stand with us, join us for a moment of silence, and as well the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Beth, if you will take roll.
Coy.
Here.
Lange.
Here.
Merrill.
Here.
Clausen. Huron.
Here.
Brenneman.
Here.
Faust.
Here.
Saunders.
Here.
All right. If I could, I would ask for a motion to approve the consent agenda that was provided you.
So moved, Your Honor.
Second.
Motion with a second for approval of the consent agenda. Please vote.
All council members voting in the affirmative.
All right. And again, approval of the full agenda as provided you.
So moved, Your Honor.
Second.
A motion with a second for approval of the full agenda. Again, if you will please vote.
All council members voting in the affirmative.
Okay. Under special presentations tonight for the recreation update, I've asked Lisa if she would join us tonight and be the speaker and give us a little bit of insight on what's going on down there at the park. Obviously, I think Dennis has brought us up to date on certainly the construction in the past, but introduce yourself and tell us how it's going.
My name is Lisa Peters, and I am the pool manager, I guess the aquatics manager for the city. We've opened the aquatic center. I saw most of you guys down there last Tuesday evening to welcome all our city employees, and that night went great. Wednesday night we had welcome guests, VIP guests, and I think we had over 600, about 650 people there on Thursday. That was Wednesday, excuse me. Thursday we had kind of a quiet opening. We were just kind of by word of mouth, and I think at the time we had about 300 people there without actually advertising it. It was good for our staff to kind of get them kind of trained a little bit better. Friday we had, trying to think of my numbers, we had opening day, and they were actually waiting outside the door, waiting for the doors to open, so it's been great to see that. Today when I left, we had over 1,200 people there throughout the day, and it's still going. There were still people coming in and check in, and another almost 1,100 yesterday. Just how kind of the park is running right now, it's a learning in process. My staff is learning daily what can be done and what can't be done. The facility itself is running pretty well. There is a couple of little glitches here and there, but we're in the process of getting those fixed. Admissions, I don't know how many family passes and passes we've sold, but they just keep coming in, so that's a good thing. They're eager. We actually had a family today from Alaska there, so.
Really?
And there was people that, I've talked to a family that drove up from Kearney, several families from Columbus. So they are coming from around the area to come visit us. So it's been kind of fun to get a chance to sit and talk to them about it.
Any questions at all, Council, for her? Or? I snuck down there today just after, well, it must have been just about 1 o'clock. And I stood in line with some of the folks there just kind of see how that was going. And obviously there's a lot of them that are still purchasing their season passes, which takes a while. But there was nobody that wasn't anything but just anxious to get that pass and know that, if I understand right, once you have that pass, you're going through
Yeah.
a different line that takes you just...
Right now, we have 3 computers running, and what we've been trying to do on the one side, it's been just, one of them is like, if you have a pass, you can go through pretty quick. If you're a paying guest, they can use that line also. And then we have 2 right now just working on passes. We're hoping the passes kind of start slowing up a little bit to help people through the line. The line was kind of long today. At one time, it was way out to those gates.
Yep.
That's probably when the mayor was there. We had about 8 people at admissions trying to help pass it through faster, but nobody really was complaining. They knew that, they had to wait. One comment was, we wait everywhere else, so, but we were pushing it through as quickly as we could.
One of the questions that was asked, Lisa, was, have we considered, and would there be a possibility of actually buying tokens so that if I want to come in on Monday and buy for the week for my family, or I come down from another town, so I'm not going to probably be needing a family pass, but if I could buy tokens, have we thought about anything like that? So that I could buy $50 worth of tokens and then...
That might be a possibility. We do have gift certificates, and we've had some grandparents buy gift certificates. They let their kid, they made for 5 days, things like that.
Okay.
But maybe a token is something we can look into.
Okay, it was a suggestion, so...
Can you buy an admission pass at the city offices?
As of right now, no. We had 2 evenings set up that we took from 3 to 7, I think it was, that they could come in, get their passes bought, get signed up for that, swimming lessons, things like that. And then once the park opened there last Friday, we have them all sold there because they have to take their picture. And now since all the computers are down at the park, that's kind of what.
So they take their picture for a day pass as well?
No, not just, for you, your question was, can they buy a
Yeah, if I
day
was gonna
pass?
pay my
Yes,
water
I think
bill,
they probably could.
Could I buy a pass to get in tomorrow?
I think they probably could.
Okay, great. Another question I had, do you identify on a daily basis where these folks live?
No, we do not. Like I said, I stood there for quite a while today. I just kind of visited with some people to find out. When the one family said they were from Alaska, I said, that's a long ways to drive. But they were here visiting some people, and they came to visit us, so it was nice to hear that.
I wonder if there would be a way to identify from what zip code they came from. So for future marketing efforts, you might be able to say, well, we want to market to this area or to that area. Yeah.
We'll have to look into that.
Okay.
Anyone else? Comments or questions?
Lisa, what about Liberty Bell? What are you seeing at Liberty Bell?
Liberty Bell, we opened Liberty Bell Memorial Day weekend, and it was actually kind of, busy, but for that time of the year, I was fairly busy. With the weather and things, I haven't had a chance to check today. I know,
I checked today.
I'd say about
30 there today.
About 30 there today. Yesterday, there was a total of almost 30 yesterday. Liberty Bell, then there was a couple days we were pretty slow. The opening days down at the Aqua Venture. We're hoping as the summer goes on and it warms up, numbers will pick up there. A lot of the people we've noticed down there have been parents with the young kids, like toddlers, because they could pay the admission at Liberty Bell is a little bit less, so they can come wade in the water with their toddler, and it's cheaper for them. So, and I assume that's kind of been, but some of them are actually pass holders. They were going to wait for the crowds to kind of lessen up before they come down. So, everything's running well at Liberty Bell, though. It's
Good.
It's ready for service, so we're hoping the crowds keep picking up.
And you're open both places till 8 o'clock every night?
Liberty Bell is open from noon to 5, and starting after the 4th of July, we will start our swimming lessons there in the evening. And then at the Aqua Venture, we will have swimming lessons there in the mornings before we get ready to clean and open. And those will start, I believe it's July 9th, whatever that Monday is.
Okay. All right.
Any questions?
Any other questions? All right.
Good.
With that, thanks for being
Yep,
here.
yep. Hope
Are you
to
headed
see
back
you.
down?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Good luck, Lisa. Thanks again. Thanks for having me. You bet. Dennis, can we look to you for a 25th Street update?
Sure. Continue to make progress out at 25th Street. They've got the concrete on Norfolk Avenue poured. They were working on the north return today. South return is poured, and I guess we got concrete all the way to Taylor. They're working on sidewalks, have those completed up to about west side. As So they were working on trying to get the sidewalks and stuff done on that. Once the sidewalks are in, the electrical contractor will come in and pour his pole bases and traffic signal bases, and then we'll wait for the steel. It's got middle of August delivery. So, and we'll also want to do the permanent striping before we open up Norfolk Avenue and the piece to the south to traffic. Continue to make progress up on the north end. They've got the subgrade built from the park entrance to Hardison. Hoping to pour a piece of that, I think the contractor said Thursday of this week. So we continue to make progress, and we'll see where we get.
Okay. Any questions on 25th Street, Council? All right. Thanks, Dennis.
You're welcome.
We will go then into public hearings. The first is a public hearing to receive a report on findings and suggestions from the Economic Development Citizen Advisory Review Committee, as required by statute. I'll open the public hearing and look to Courtney. You're going to talk for us on this, or to us on this?
Yes, Mayor, thank you. Is this on? Can y'all hear me?
No.
There. Okay, now can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right, great. Well, thank you for having me. As you can see on the agenda and then in the enclosed report, which is enclosure 25, the CARC met for its semi-annual meeting on June 6th. All members of the Citizen Advisory Review Committee were present. The findings from that meeting were that the Economic Development Program is operating in compliance with the budget and the EDP guidelines and procedures. We had a conversation about the current funding of the city's Economic Development Fund. As of April 30th, we had $456,118, and Randy could probably give an estimate of where we may be. After that point, some funds have come in since that time.
As of the, after we got the property tax receipts in last month, we had about $600,000 in there.
We reviewed the amendments to the EDP guidelines and procedures that you adopted on May 21st, 2012, and also received an update, or gave the CARC an update on the Premier Senior Marketing Project. As you'll see in the packet, we are still waiting for some additional information from Premier Senior Marketing so that we can move forward with distribution of funds. We don't have any other official applications for funding at this time, but there are a lot of projects that have made inquiries. So there are quite a few potentials on the horizon for use of LD 840 funds. In fact, Randy and I had a conversation the other day about cash flow to make sure that we had enough, which is a good sign, and had a conversation with a woman from the Department of Economic Development the other day and noted that the economy must be picking up because we're getting a lot of calls about prospective businesses coming into Norfolk.
Good. Any questions for Courtney at all regarding that report? Okay. If not, we're in a public hearing here, so anyone else that has questions from within the audience that may want to come forward or speak to this? Not even you, huh, Scott? Okay. All right. Then with that, I will close the public hearing, and I guess at this point, that's all we need to do on this. Yep. Thanks for the report. We'll move to the regular agenda then, which is consideration of ordinance number 5210, approving the official wellhead protection overlay district map, which was approved on first reading at the June 4th City Council meeting and is before us tonight to be considered on second reading only. However, I've been advised that Dennis Watts says it is okay for us to go forward with second and third if this council so chooses. So I would ask for a motion on ordinance.
I would move consideration of ordinance 5210 on second reading, or I'd move that we open.
Second.
There's a second? Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve on the second reading of ordinance number 5210. Any discussion at all? Short title, Beth?
An ordinance of the City of Norfolk, Nebraska to approve the official wellhead protection overlay district map of the city and to provide for publication of this ordinance in pamphlet form.
Will you please vote?
All council members voting in the affirmative, ordinance 5210 carries on second reading.
I guess just for the fact that we won't be able to have any discussion on third reading, I would introduce this for third reading.
Motion and a second that we introduce on third reading, ordinance number 5210. Do we have a second? Again, anything that you need to do here, Beth? No. Okay, please vote.
All council members voting in the affirmative, ordinance 5210 carries on third reading.
Next, I would ask for consideration of ordinance number 5213 to enact section 18-18 of the code to make it a violation to trespass at Veterans Memorial Park and Liberty Bell Pool, punishable by penalty of not less than $500 nor no more than $1,000, and or by imprisonment of not more than 6 months, and to enact section 1819 to make it a violation to park in areas other than marked park spaces or taking up more than one parking space at Veterans Memorial Park. I'm looking for consideration of.
Your Honor, I'll introduce ordinance 5213 on first reading.
We have a motion with a second. Clint, do you want to give us some discussion and staff recommendation on this?
Certainly, Your Honor. A couple of things with two separate things that are being addressed there. One is looking at the improvements at Veterans Memorial Park. If you look at Lisa and her staff going around and locking everything up at night, there's all sorts of things there, and the notion was that when you consider that, you can look at the improvements the public's made in the turf and the baseball facilities. You want that to be an inviting place, but you also want it to be preserved, and it's not a place that should be accessed when it shouldn't be accessed. So what was aimed at here was to really communicate both with the new improvements at Veterans Memorial Park, and as a staff when we were talking about that, other than the water at Liberty Bell, the pool itself, those sorts of places are really different than the other facilities that the city has, and so this would make a special provision that addresses trespassing in those areas if you were to approve it. The parking issues were aimed at some things that we saw. For instance, as you go down there in an effort to keep away from having signs all over the place, basically you've got a striped parking lot. It's clear where people are parked. The very first night or two that there were any activities down there were people parked in front of the gate at the going into the National Guard facilities, people parking in the entranceways, and basically all this says is that it gives the opportunity, if it's not marked as a parking stall, you don't park there, and that would include give the police some opportunities to, depending upon what they wanted to do, issue warning tickets, issue tickets if you've got something that's in a place where it really shouldn't be and you can't raise the people. You could. It also would give them the authority to tow that. One of the things that's in there about parking in more than park spaces is absolutely amazing when you were going down through there, and I was going back to what I observed in a couple of 3 different instances where there were soccer games down there. There were all kinds of places to park, and there were a couple, 2 or 3 folks with 7 county license plates who took it upon themselves to say that the parking stall's not big enough for me, and so they parked right in front of the place with taking up a couple of stalls. Again, if this would give the police some ability to address those kinds of concerns if those come about. So that's the ordinance that's there for your consideration. Can answer any questions that you might have.
But Clint, are you saying that if somebody does park on a parking stall on the line or in the middle, that the least fine they're going to get is $500?
No, that's only for the trespass.
Okay,
Council.
the other one could be just a parking ticket.
If you're taking up 2 parking stalls, and the officers would have, the police would have the discretion to talk about the difference between, you could tell with, even I can tell when somebody is just a bad parker versus somebody that is saying that I'm more important than everybody else and I want to take up 2 stalls. That would be a $10 fine.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments, suggestions? Okay. Got a short title for us?
Yes. An ordinance of the City of Norfolk, Nebraska to enact Section 18-18 of the official city code to make it a violation to trespass at Veterans Memorial Park and Liberty Bell Pool, punishable by a penalty of not more than $1,000 and/or by imprisonment of not more than 6 months, with a minimum penalty of $500 upon conviction. To enact Section 18-19 to make it a violation to park in areas other than marked parking spaces or to take up more than 1 parking space in Veterans Memorial Park. To provide when this ordinance shall be in full force and effect, and to provide for publication of this ordinance in pamphlet form.
I have one question. Will there be signage on Bluff that says no parking?
That's the next ordinance that would, if the next ordinance on the agenda talks about actually creating the ordinance that would prohibit parking on there, and that's a separate ordinance. The reason that we have those as separate ordinances is that Bluff is a public street, so it's with the parking. This is one that with the Section 18 provisions of the code are all in the park section.
Okay.
So that's why they're split apart that way.
Thank you.
Okay. Please vote on ordinance number 5213.
All council members voting in the affirmative, ordinance number 5213 carries on first reading.
Your Honor, I move we suspend the rules and pass ordinance 5213 on second and third.
We have a motion with a second to suspend and pass on second and third reading, ordinance number 5213. Any further discussion? If not, please vote.
All council members voting in the affirmative, ordinance 5213 carries on second and third.
And lastly would be consideration of ordinance number 5214, amending section 24164 of the code to prohibit parking on both sides of Bluff from the entrance to Veterans Memorial Park to First Street.
Your Honor, I would introduce ordinance 5214.
Second.
Okay, motion with a second. Anything we need to discuss on this? I think Dale asked the question there, and certainly I think it's probably pretty self-explanatory why it is that we're looking to take action there. Anything, Clint, you want to add to that?
No, we just have a lot of respect for Dennis's new street.
So, like overflow parking, is that going to be an issue at some of the games? If, I'm just living down there. I know that now we're putting, with the sidewalks and stuff, you're getting a lot more parking in residential areas. Is there been any thought of that, for how we can pick up some of that?
Well, I think ordinance 5213 helps address that. To minimize folks taking up more than 1 parking stall, to maximize the use of that parking lot in whole. I don't know. On the great big games, you could see some additional parking in the neighborhoods, I'm sure. But the utilization, I think, that we're going to see down there compared to what we used to see with the parking lots being muddy and tore up and people parking willy-nilly, I think is going to be a benefit. I'm hoping we capture the bulk of our parking in those parking stalls. But Bluff Avenue, coming in there, we got the standards up for the sign, and we got landscaping going on there, and just that half a block or so in that entrance to take that off of there just makes good sense. It seems like for the neighbors right there and for the.
So this is addressing from the entrance
in
east.
Yes.
West.
From the
it's that half a block.
Yeah,
That's where you go in.
Just that half
First
block.
Street.
From First Street into the entrance.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and Councilman, we wrote it that way simply because of the consistency in that section of the code where everything goes from east to west, and that's why it's kind of written a little backwards as we talk there. And if I might, there's still some more parking things that are coming to you. We've had, the plan throughout has been for the whole thing with the guard has the opportunity for the inflow through the north parking lot out through the south parking lot, and then also some parking easements that will allow for the parking lot immediately north of the building itself to be utilized as part of this. And we were waiting to actually have that construction completed, so that we'll be in the process of putting those together, and you'll see those agreements coming back to you in the not too distant future as well.
Okay, short title, Beth?
An ordinance of the City of Norfolk, Nebraska to amend Section 24-164 of the official city code to prohibit parking on both sides of Bluff Avenue from the entrance to Veterans Memorial Park to First Street, to provide when this ordinance shall be in full force and effect, and to provide for publication of this ordinance in pamphlet form.
Please vote.
All council members voting in the affirmative, ordinance 5214 carries on first reading.
Your Honor, I move to suspend the rules and pass ordinance 6214 on second and third.
Second?
A motion with a second to suspend the rules and pass on second and third reading, ordinance number 5214. If no further discussion, please vote.
All council members voting in the affirmative, ordinance 5214 carries on second and third.
Okay, and by the agenda, tonight is an evening for public comment. And so if there's anyone in the audience that wants to come forward and has something to offer to the elected officials or to the staff, please feel free to do so. Seeing none, I would like to comment and say thank you to the many, many citizens this weekend that gave this community something far above what I think we ever felt would happen in the city of Norfolk. I will tell you, certainly the Comedy Festival, the Air Fest, and even the Laugh and the Half Marathon, which, man, like I tell you, kudos to those people that I saw out there running in the rain Saturday morning. But it was a great, great weekend for all the wonderful events. So thank you to everyone that participated and those that put it together. I know it was a lot of work, and I think we really showed our true colors here in Norfolk. So we have a community that should be very proud of what they accomplished this weekend. So seeing nothing else on the agenda, unless anyone else has a comment, we're adjourned.